to all here in the Aula Magna of the Gregorian University and to all those who follow us online. We are looking forward to opening this International Safeguarding Conference, and the first person to speak to us is Father Mark Lewis, the rector of the Pontifical Gregorian University, or as in English, in many places you would say the president of the university. Father Mark Lewis.
Thank you. Your Eminence, Cardinal Parolin, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, guests, all friends, welcome. I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming you all to the Pontifical Gregorian University for this annual conference on safeguarding. You all come from a wide range of places and backgrounds, but share the same concern and mission to help safeguard the most vulnerable in our society. I welcome you all in a particular way as practitioners of abuse protection. You work at the front lines, interacting and assisting those who have suffered abuse. I also wish to acknowledge those who have been victims of abuse. We will continue to work and to pray for healing, as well as commit ourselves to find more effective ways of prevention. When this sad crisis first arrived in our consciousness, now quite a few years ago, our overwhelming concern was for the youngest, children who had been abused in their innocence, a matter that remains a grave and central concern. But we have subsequently also seen the need to move further to respond to other categories of those who are vulnerable. And this year's focus of the International Conference is on safeguarding and disability. This greater inclusion, I think, shows the extent to which we have learned that these kinds of wounds are serious to every victim, and that we as a society are becoming more aware of the dangers that exist in not confronting those who seek to exploit anyone who is vulnerable. When the Center for Child Protection became the Institute of Anthropology here at the Pontifical Gregorian University, the motivation to rename it was twofold. First, child protection limited the research and instructional programs in an environment that was growing in its scope. But the second, perhaps more important reason, was that its full title, the Institute of Anthropology for Interdisciplinary Studies on the Human Dignity and Care of Vulnerable Persons, not only broadens the scope, but expands the mission of the Institute to emphasize the need to care and respect the human dignity of all who are vulnerable. It is a much more positive and inclusive, even if equally challenging, a mission. Our institute seeks to provide a place here in Rome among the pontifical faculties for research and solid academic preparation for those destined to be missioned to this area of the Church. We hope that the educational resources we provide will indeed improve the quality of care for those who are vulnerable to this kind of abuse, as well as provide a greater sense of the human dignity of each individual so as to safeguard us all in the future. So this is an appropriate place for you to convene and interact on this important theme. It only remains for me to welcome in a more personal way Pietro Cardinal Parolin, the Secretary of State of the Vatican City State. Cardinal Parolin is no stranger to our university from his days studying canon law here. He is a frequent and honored guest with us on occasions as diverse as Jewish-Christian relations, papal diplomacy, and the legacy of Blessed John Paul I. We know him to be an important figure in helping the Church address the questions which confront us today with urgency and transparency. So I'm happy to welcome Cardinal Parolin and invite him to now address us with an overview of the questions before us. I welcome all of you to an attentive listening and contribution, and once again, welcome you to our university. Thank you.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to have the occasion to address you this year and to offer a few remarks as an introduction to this annual event, the International Safeguarding Conference, hosted by the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome, the gathering of safeguarding personnel, church authorities, and researchers. Why are you are we here today together? We all know that some of our main goals are to protect and promote human dignity from a Christian perspective and care for vulnerable people, create and preserve a safe and sacred space for all human beings within the Church and in societies at large. No matter what your background is, if you are an organization hands-on member, a representative of your local diocese, a church leader, or a researcher, you come together to share your experiences, listen to speakers who are experts in their fields, create networks of cooperation, and, as a recently added feature, meet up with researchers and academics to engage in discussion and a common learning experience, always with the intent firmly set on building safe space, developing safe processes, and living in safe relationship. Each year you have a strong reason to appreciate being together and building a platform for learning, networking, and sharing best practices, not only because your platform is growing more comprehensive, encompassing different nuances of living your commitment to a safer church and a safer world, but also because in day-to-day life you encounter often resistance, isolation, and frustration. I commend you for what you do in your care for those who have been wounded, in your concern for those who are vulnerable, and in your love for Jesus Christ and His Church, even if it has so at times failed the mission that her Master has given her. The 2021 conference edition on the victim's perspective was still hampered by the limitation of pandemic-related restrictions. In 2022, you put the focus on the support to victims in reporting abuse, and last year you emphasized the need for a growing culture of accountability in different areas of responsibility in the Church, according to the changes made in canon law. In the follow-up to the Child Protection Summit of 2019. This year's theme of your conference is Safeguarding and Disability. This is a timely and important topic when we remember that about 1 in 5 people in the world lives with some form of disability, and that people with disabilities are more vulnerable to different types of abuse and physical and psychological violence. We become more and more aware that many problems that disabled people face in their daily life are the result of exclusion and the highest prevalence of abuse experienced by them. We need to add to that the bigger difficulties in reporting abuse that people with disabilities face are a moral responsibility of society. It is the latter's responsibility to destroy barriers and foster a sense of belonging of those who are too often sidelined and excluded. You are going to embark on an exploration that needs a continuous willingness to grow in real and effective participation. This is not going to be done by simply discussing the issue of safeguarding among yourselves and then by reaching out to our brothers and sisters in Christ with disabilities. Instead, the only way for a true conversion is to listen to each other, to truly partake in the lived experiences of a struggle for recognition, allocation of resources, and true fraternity, the opposite to condescending and paternalistic attitudes. I have noted with great appreciation that a good number of your keynote speakers will deliver their remarks based on their personal reflection and experience in living with disabilities, and I thank them for their willingness to challenge all of us and for opening a path for steadfastness on a common journey. As Pope Francis wrote in his prayer intention in the past month of December 2023, inviting everyone to pray that people with disabilities may be at the center of attention in our societies, it is not just a matter of eliminating physical barriers. We need, the Pope says, we need to stop talking about them and start talking about us. Together with the heightened attention for crucial themes like the different approaches towards disability according to spiritual, social, and cultural perspectives, we realize that one foundational theme is that of disability rights and the acknowledgement that in a just society, people with disabilities must not to be pushed to the margins and materially and spiritually impoverished, but integrated and recognized as any other portion of the human family and of the Church's life. In recent years, the international community has made significant progress in acknowledging the rights of persons with disabilities, but unfortunately, this is yet to happen worldwide. When it takes place, a more just and solidary society can thrive, where belonging is not a slogan to be used in politically correct speeches, but a practice. Unfortunately, many persons and families dealing with disabilities continue to be isolated and suffer from a stigma, and this happens regardless of social and economic conditions. If disability rights fail to be acknowledged, and such a large part of humanity exposed to marginalization, human dignity and the whole culture of life are seriously threatened, as recently elaborated in the Declaration Dignitas Infinita by the Dicastery for Doctrine of the Faith. Number 53 and 54 of Dignitas Infinita focus on the marginalization of people with disabilities. These paragraphs include indeed a powerful call for people with disability to be more broadly involved in the life of the Church. Moreover, we need to acknowledge that the concept of the diversity in disability can translate into a precious treasure that allows all of us as brothers and sisters to enrich us all with the variety of our experiences, feelings and reflection, which will help us not only to talk, but to act effectively to prevent abuse and create an overarching safeguarding framework for belonging and integration in our faith community. When we say that safeguarding is an issue that affects people from all walks of life, and it requires a coordinated and collaborative approach to be effective, we must now keep in mind how thoroughly complete this approach needs to be, and how multifaceted safeguarding strategies need to be designed to cover all possible subjects. The talks that will take place in the course of the event will, in all probability, also highlight vulnerability and frailty as traits shared by all human beings, and certainly not peculiar to people with disabilities, and will help us consider them as an added value to better identify and correct wrongdoings and injustices in the different sectors of the Church life and beyond. I do hope that all of you will actively participate and engage in the coming 3 days, in all sincerity, collegiality, and necessary thoughtfulness as a preparation for effective joint action. While we have to admit that a barrier-free world, accessible to all different kinds of disabilities, physical and intellectual, is an unfortunate utopia, we have here the possibility to overcome different barriers by gathering and discussing ways to combat abuse, an injustice that strikes all, disabled people and not disabled ones. We are indeed here to celebrate the building of a sense of collective, spiritual, common identity. We are together today to achieve something important, a hallmark of the kingdom of God that is growing in mysterious ways when we work towards it. Pope Francis is a strong advocate of and example of a true culture of encounter and solidarity, especially with persons with special needs. He has spoken often about the inherent dignity shared by all human beings from the beginning to the end of life, about the need in the Church to be open to all and to accept and embrace difference, and for solidarity with victims and vulnerable people, following the model of Jesus Christ himself. This translates also into working together among people with and without disabilities for same opportunities for all, respecting the equality of all people and allowing them to make their own decisions in relation to their own needs, relationship, and communities. Once we emphasized how vulnerability and frailty are in fact signs and expression of our common human nature, can be seen not only as a limitation, but also can become a value and a resource for any community, and even more so for an ecclesial community. Integral participation becomes more effective when people with disabilities play an effective part of society. Once again, I would like to send you a warm encouragement for your ongoing joint efforts as participants in this conference, so that all that you do and discuss will be permeated with God, who invites you to rectify injustices and proceed together on the path of charity, safety, and dignity for all. Thank you, and may God bless your mission and the days of this work. Thank you.
Tante grazie, Eminenza. Thank you very much, not only for your words, but also for your presence here, which is an important sign for support of our work. Tante grazie.